PM on DD India.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and you're watching News Night on DD India, your prime-time destination for news and bespoke analysis. It's good to see you again. All right, on the show tonight, after a public spat, two Indian vaccine manufacturers pledge a smooth rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. Now, the Serum Institute of India, Pune, and the Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech issue a joint statement. They say they respect the great work being done by each other and put behind them the miscommunication and misunderstanding caused during the past week. One hopes that it puts the lid on endless, some would say mindless speculation, misinformation and doubt over efficacy of vaccines in general and most importantly, the Made in India vaccine in particular. Also on the show, India takes another step towards one nation, one gas grid. Now, Prime Minister Modi dedicates the 450-kilometer-long KochiBengaluru natural gas pipeline, and Supreme Court gives the nod for the central Vista project. Plus, updates from India and the world. All that and much more coming up over the next 1 hour. But first, as always, the headlines. Elaborate preparations on for COVID-19 vaccination in India. Health Ministry says vaccines could be administered within 10 days of getting the go-ahead from the government. Systems and processes put in place. COVID app to be used. Doctors and other frontline workers need not register for the vaccine. Serum Institute of India, Pune and Bharat Biotech, Hyderabad issue a joint statement. Pledge to ensure a smooth rollout of COVID-19 vaccines to India and the world. Say focus is on manufacturing, supply and distribution of high quality and safe vaccines to people who need it the most. India continues to make progress in its fight against the coronavirus. Active cases dropped to their lowest level of 2.32 lakh in 6 months. Recovery rate at 96.32%. 71 people infected with the new variant of the virus. Prime Minister Modi dedicates the KochiBengaluru natural gas pipeline to the nation via video conference. It marks a new milestone in the creation of one nation, one gas grid. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson cancels his India visit due to the COVID-19 pandemic as Britain registered 58,000 new cases in a single day. He was to be the chief guest at India's Republic Day celebrations. Supreme Court gives the nod for Central Vista project, upholds the central government's plan of constructing a Central Vista and a new Parliament building. Union Ministers Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and Smriti Irani launch a virtual toy hackathon. Toy-cathon 2021 aims to create awareness among school students about the rich cultural heritage of the country. And cold wave conditions prevail over large parts of northern India. Jammu-Srinagar National Highway closed due to snowfall, rain and thunder showers in Delhi and adjoining areas. Right, let me dive straight into our cover story. It's about vaccination in India. Now, so far, 2 vaccines have been approved and word is vaccination could begin very soon. Now, this even as Pune Serum Institute of India and the Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech issue a joint statement, putting an end to a so-called vaccine war. Here's more. The wait is over, almost. India could soon begin vaccinations against the coronavirus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says it would be the biggest vaccination program of its kind in the world. 2 vaccines have already got the nod.
हमने ये कहा है कि जिस भी दिन वैक्सीन को ये एक्सेलरेटेड अप्रूवल मिलता है, जो कि 2 तारीख की SEC की बैठक में रिकमेंड किया गया और 3 तारीख को ड्रग्स कंट्रोलर जनरल ने इसकी घोषणा की, उसके 10 दिन के भीतर हमारी तैयारी रोल आउट करने की है। अंतिम निर्णय सरकार द्वारा लिया जाना है।
The government says elaborate preparations have been made for vaccination. Systems and processes have been put in place for distribution and administration of vaccine, including an app for the purpose of effective management of the vaccination program. Doctors and other frontline workers would get the vaccine first.
इसमें सेशन एलोकेशन हो सकता है, आधार ऑथेंटिकेशन हो सकता है और इसमें यूनिक हेल्थ आईडी का क्रिएशन हो सकता है, AEFI की रिपोर्टिंग हो सकती है। 12 भाषाओं में ये आपके फ़ोन पर SMS भेजने की सुविधा रखता है। QR कोड आधारित वैक्सीनेशन सर्टिफिकेट ये जनरेट करेगा और आपको भेजेगा यदि आपने दोनों डोजेज लगवा ली हों। टू ट्रबल शूट देयर प्रॉब्लम्स एंड इश्यूज वी वुड हैव अ 24/7 हेल्पलाइन which will be addressing these issues.
Recently, 2 vaccines, Covaxin and Covishield, got emergency authorization from the government. Serum Institute of India, Pune, is behind the Covishield vaccine. It has been manufactured in partnership with Oxford University and British-Swedish company AstraZeneca, while Covaxin is a made-in-India vaccine manufactured by Bharat Biotech Hyderabad in collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research. On Tuesday, the 2 companies issued a joint statement communicating their pledge towards a smooth rollout of COVID-19 vaccines to India and the world. The statement reads, Mr. Adar Poonawala and Dr. Krishna Ella, jointly on behalf of the 2 companies, today communicated their combined intent to develop, manufacture and supply the COVID-19 vaccines for India and globally. They said the more important task in front of them is saving the lives and livelihoods of populations in India and the world. Vaccines are a global public health good and they have the power to save lives and accelerate the return to economic normalcy at the earliest. Now that 2 COVID-19 vaccines have been issued EUA, Emergency Use Authorization in India, the focus is on manufacturing, supply and distribution such that populations that need it the most receive high-quality, safe and efficacious vaccines. Both the companies are fully engaged in this activity and consider it a duty to the nation and the world at large to ensure a smooth rollout of vaccines. Each of our companies continue their COVID-19 vaccines development activities as planned. Both companies respect the great work being carried out by each other and put behind us the miscommunication and misunderstanding caused during the past week. We are fully aware of the importance of vaccines for people and countries alike. We hereby communicate our joint pledge to provide global access for our COVID-19 vaccines. The Health Ministry said an emergency approval was given to Bharat Biotech's vaccine according to prescribed regulations. Several other potential vaccines are undergoing trials in the country.
In granting this permission and authorization, all scientific and statutory requirements have been met. Have no doubt that scientific criteria has been met and the regulatory norms have been followed. A 4th vaccine has now moved into phase 3 trial, and that is again India vaccine, as you know, on a very difficult and a new and a novel platform, the DNA platform. I think that's one news that you should all celebrate.
Microsoft founder Bill Gates appreciated the approval of 2 vaccines for emergency use in India. Tagging the Prime Minister's office, Gates tweeted, quote, "It's great to see India's leadership in scientific innovation and vaccine manufacturing capability as the world works to end the COVID-19 pandemic." Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh conducted a dry run at 6 designated places in 75 districts on Tuesday.
पूर्वाभ्यास में यह देखा जा रहा है कि जब हम वास्तविक वैक्सीनेशन का कार्य प्रारंभ करेंगे तो हमारे सामने क्या-क्या चैलेंजेस आएंगे उन सभी चीज़ों को आज पूर्वाभ्यास के माध्यम से देख करके और जो भी उसमें गैप्स पाए जाएंगे उन सब को एड्रेस कर लिया जाएगा.
On the question of reopening of schools, the Health Ministry said vaccination drive for teachers and their families would be a prerequisite for the same. Children between the age group of 12 to 18 have been included in Phase 3 trials of vaccine candidates. With Nitendra Singh in New Delhi, News Night Desk, DD India. Now, data shows that new cases of the coronavirus in India are on a steady decline. All that and more in the next report.
NIV scientists have successfully isolated the new virus strain that surfaced in the United Kingdom. Before that, India successfully did the genome sequencing of SARS-CoV-2 virus 6 months back. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has once again congratulated the scientists for the feat.
हमने खाली वायरस की जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग नहीं, अपितु हम सब जानते हैं कि वायरस को सबसे पहले दुनिया में 4-5 देश जिन्होंने आइसोलेट किया उसमें भारत था और ICMR ने आइसोलेट किया. और अभी हमने ये भी देखा कि अभी जो म्यूटेशन वाला वायरस है इसको भी हमारा देश आइसोलेट कर चुका है.
Meanwhile, India continues its streak of shedding active caseload as daily recoveries continue to outnumber daily new cases. The positivity rate in the country has slided down further and is now at less than 6%.
जो एक्टिव केसेस हैं वो 6 महीने के बाद 2.5 लाख से कम हो गए हैं और लगातार घटते जा रहे हैं. डेली नंबर ऑफ डेथ्स 300 से कम पिछले 11 दिनों से लगातार हैं. क्यूमुलेटिव पॉजिटिविटी रेट जो है वो 6% से कम हो गया है, 5.87 है. और अगर आप पिछले सप्ताह का पॉजिटिविटी रेट देखें तो वो 1.97 है.
The statistics also show that the daily new cases in India are on a sustained decline. Only 43.96% cases are serious which require hospitalization, while the remaining cases are asymptomatic and all of them are under home isolation.
केवल 44% मामले ऐसे हैं जो अस्पतालों में हैं, यानी जो मॉडरेट या सीवियर सिम्टम से ग्रसित हैं, and that is why they need regular medical care. But 56% cases are those which are very mild or asymptomatic cases and are in home isolation.
Let's have a look at a continuously declining numbers on the COVID front. India's active caseload, which has been decreasing continuously, stands at 2,31,036 patients. This constitutes a paltry 2.23% of the total positive cases so far. This is made possible by daily recoveries outnumbering daily new cases for 39 days in a streak. Against 29,091 people who recovered in the past 24 hours, India reported only 16,375 new cases, maintaining a steady level of testing. A net decline of 12,917 cases has been recorded in the total active cases in the past 24 hours. The total number of cases infected with the new strain of the novel coronavirus first reported in the UK now stands at 71. 20 new cases have been identified at NIV Pune.
This mutation has entered this country for sure. We are picking up these variants. 71 have been isolated, which shows our capacity to mount that kind of a scientific investigation. But at the same time, right now, we have not seen any emergence of any untoward cluster as of now.
India's cumulative recoveries have inched closer to 1 crore mark. Total recovered cases have crossed 99.75 lakh mark. This also increases the recovery rate to 96.32%. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Right, time now for our In Focus segment in which we are discussing about Indian companies' pledge to work jointly for vaccine rollout. Right, joining me are two very special guests, Dr. Sanjay K. Rai from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi. He is a professor of community medicine and the principal investigator COVID-19 vaccine trial. And also joining me is Prafulla Ketkar, editor, Organizer Weekly. Welcome, gentlemen, to News 9. Now, before I come to you, Dr. Rai, let me go across to Prafulla Ketkar. I'll tell you why. Because Prafulla Ketkar, 24 hours ago, I remember asking you about the politics of vaccination in the country today. And 24 hours later, we've seen the two companies in question issue a joint statement, setting aside the differences and working together to roll out the vaccine to India and the world at large. Now, in hindsight, do you think all's well that ends well?
Hope so. People should learn their lessons. I don't think that there was a problem with the companies. Of course, companies.
So they should put an end to all speculation, misinformation,
absolutely.
doubts.
The irresponsible behavior of some of our politicians and even social media celebrities who take pride in raising questions about whatever that is indigenously made.
Right.
Now they should take their lessons right, because we are going for the biggest vaccination program in the world. Please try and understand, India has shown, because there are only 36 COVID-19 vaccines that are under clinical evaluation, and out of that, the two vaccines that we are talking about has shown remarkable results. With a sufficient number of data supporting it. With this, I think, and the way we have shown the capability in terms of research, in terms of providing the vaccine at the minimal price, at affordable cost, and with a easy storage system. Please try and understand, when we are going at the on the issue of vaccination,
right,
India has a unique advantage of having cold chain maintenance up to the level of primary health centers.
Mm-hmm.
Now this kind of 2 to 8 degree kind of storage system, we will be able to have some kind of storage even at the lowest level, that is the panchayat level. That is a remarkable achievement by any standard. And that's why we should be proud of it, and we should stop petty politics on this.
Indeed. Now, Dr. Rai, you are not only a professor of community medicine, you're also the principal investigator, the COVID-19 vaccine trial as well. Now, we are told that the two companies in question can roll out the vaccine and we can begin vaccination within 10 days of them getting the go-ahead from the government. Now, help our viewers understand what are the factors that the government will need to take into consideration before giving the go-ahead in terms of preparations, putting systems and processes in place in terms of infrastructure, cold chain maintenance, and also distribution administration of the vaccines in general.
Okay, so first I will explain my role.
Sure.
Our role was to establish or evaluate the efficacy or impact of a new vaccine developed by ICMR and Bharat Biotech.
Right.
So the impact means in terms of safety. Is this vaccine is safe? Then the overall immunogenicity, overall your reactogenicity, and finally vaccine efficacy. So this was the role by the various stages of the clinical trial, right? So, and we are doing our job. Almost the recruitment is over for this, and I'm not going to discuss the detail of this. Replying to this question, how you are prepared to roll out this vaccination campaign, right? So we had already 2 rounds of this dry run. Mm-hmm. The first round we had in 4 states, and all these 4 states selected in different geographical location. Most probably the initial plan was to have only in these various geographical locations this type of dry run, and the purpose of dry run was to identify the challenges before the real implementation of this vaccination program. And successfully we implemented both the dry run and really we identified the challenges. There were few challenges.
Right.
Regarding logistic management. See, we have our well-structured UIP program, that is Universal Immunization Program, in India. In that program, we maintain vaccine temperature between 2 to 8 degrees. So from state, district, even at the sub-district level, and below the sub-district level, even at the primary health center level, we have one well-structured this cold chain management system. So for logistic management, we don't have any problem, at least for the first phase. If you want to, we can accommodate this 1 crore and 2 crore population, which
so we can scale it up quickly.
Yeah, definitely. For first, for frontline worker and healthcare providers.
Right.
When we want to cover entire population, that time we may face problem, but we have some time for that. And the way Government of India is preparing all these, see, even vaccine was not available, but Prime Minister had several round of talks with the Chief Minister. Then he visited, he made visit to all these manufacturers. So all this. So it's under direct, our Pradhan Mantri is reviewing the whole process. So I don't think that we will face any problem in the logistic management.
Right, so it's a matter of time before we actually begin to see vaccinations take place in India as early as some say in the next few days. Right, let me go back to Prafulla Keskar. Prafulla Keskar, you spoke about the politicization of vaccine and vaccination in the country. Now look at the facts. Microsoft founder Bill Gates, WHO chief, all have praised India for its effort, one, in tackling the coronavirus, and two, in boosting the vaccination program in the country that will cater to the world at large as well. And also look at the data, low fatality rate, high performance in so far as containing the spread of the virus. So all indicators suggest that India is doing phenomenally well in tackling this challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely, Ramesh. See, we need to understand 2-3 factors. One, the kind of mindset we have at the societal level, which is very unlike that of the other parts, especially the Western world, where the state-centric systems primarily take care of the healthcare. Here, we have a different kind of social structure and different kind of social, sensitivities. If you have a, active government to facilitate those processes, then it is easier to reach out to the people and involve them in a participatory manner.
Right.
The way we went through this entire period phase by phase, either in the form of Janta curfew, then lockdown, then systematic phase-wise handling of the situation, then decentralizing the entire process of unlocking process, that clearly shows that we have despite all kinds of political differences and political accusations, we have a different social structures that are that are used to managing this kind of crisis situation. The societal response and the active government response, if they match together, then India is the best place. Despite this kind of population density, if we have managed this much, then it is a remarkable achievement. Besides that, we also need to understand that India is fighting this not just for itself but for the entire world.
Right.
The way we have supplied the entire the requirement of medicine, the mask to the entire world. It is again the way we have rescued our population who were caught up outside India. That is also unprecedented. We valued each and every life of every citizen. And what we saw today is again a typical Indian character. Two companies, if you see what is happening in Pfizer and Moderna, or what is happening in the TRIPS related negotiations in at the international level in WTO, it's only India and South Africa that are fighting for the cause of entire humanity. They are talking about the global access to the vaccination at the minimum, and that's why they are asking for waiver from certain provisions of the TRIPS agreement. It means, as far as the vaccines are concerned, there will not be the patent clause applicable as far as the basic once the company is ready to sell the thing, they won't have any patent right over this. So there can be multiplication. And here in India, we see in this joint statement today, these two companies, Bharat Biotech and Serum Institute of India, they come together, and what do they talk about? They talk about their responsibility. And responsibility of what? They use the word global access for COVID-19 vaccines. That is Bharat, that is India.
Absolutely.
That always stands for not just for its own people, but for the entire humanity. And we have again shown that today.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Rai, I have a couple of quick questions for you. Now, these are frequently asked questions by people at large, including our viewers. If I want to get vaccinated, do I necessarily have to register myself on the COVID app? Yes or no?
Yes, you have to.
Okay. How much will it cost me or anyone who wants to get vaccinated? Is it free? Will it come with a price? And will the price be for one shot or two shots?
See, both company, Bharat Biotech and also your Serum Institute, they have declared price for the government of India. Right, that is between 200 to 300 rupees.
Is that per shot or two shots?
That is for per shot. For general public, they have not declared anything.
Okay. Now, since you mentioned there are two companies, two vaccines as of today in India.
Yeah.
Can I, as the end user, pick the vaccine?
Yeah, you can pick the vaccine.
So I have the choice to either go for the Pfizer vaccine or the Covishield or Covaxin.
No. Regulatory approval has not been given to Pfizer. In India, only these two got regulatory approval.
So Covishield or Covaxin, I can choose.
Covishield and Covaxin. So you have choice either for the Covishield or Covaxin.
And if I choose one vaccine for the first shot, can I interchange with the other for the second shot?
No.
Okay.
See, we don't have any data that, and both are using different platform.
All right. So I have to choose one vaccine for both shots.
Yeah.
All right. And will I be told where to go to? In other words, will it be at a government facility or can I go to a private facility or a hospital or a clinic?
See, for phase 1 vaccination program, they have already identified, government has already identified the places. So they will notify these places in a couple of days.
Right. Fair point. I'm running out of time. Unfortunately, I have to stop right here. May I thank both my guests, Dr. Rai and Prafulla Ketk, for joining us on Newsnight. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right. Shifting focus to some other news we are tracking here on Newsnight. Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday dedicated the KochiBengaluru natural gas pipeline to the nation via a video conference. The 450-kilometer-long pipeline has been built by Gas Authority of India Limited.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated the KochiBengaluru natural gas pipeline to the nation through a video link on Tuesday, the nation took another big stride towards the goal of One Nation, One Gas Grid. The 450-kilometer-long pipeline has been laid by GAIL India Limited and it has the ability to transport 12 million metric standard cubic meters of gas per day. It will carry natural gas from the liquefied natural gas regasification terminal at Kochi to Bengaluru while passing through Ernakulam, Thrissur, Palakkad, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod districts. The PM said that this pipeline is a very big example of how if everyone works together giving priority to development, no goal is impossible.
ये प्रोजेक्ट से जुड़े लोग जानते हैं कि इंजीनियरिंग के लिहाज से इसे पूरा करना कितना मुश्किल था। प्रोजेक्ट में कई दिक्कतें भी आई, लेकिन हमारे श्रमिकों, हमारे इंजीनियरों, हमारे किसानों और राज्य सरकारों के सहयोग से ये पाइपलाइन पूरी हुई। कहने को ये सिर्फ एक पाइपलाइन है, लेकिन दोनों राज्यों के विकास को गति देने में इसकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका होने वाली है।
Putting across the benefits of the pipeline, the PM said it will improve the ease of living in both the states in Kerala and Karnataka. It will reduce the expenses of the poor, middle class and entrepreneurs in both the states. It will become the means for city gas distribution system for several cities. It will also form the base of the CNG-based transport system in these cities. It will provide clean energy to Mangalore refinery. It will play a major role in reducing pollution in both the states. Reduced pollution will have a direct impact on the environment akin to planting millions of trees. It would help in improving people's health and reducing their health-related expenditures. Less pollution and clean air would attract more tourists. Construction of this pipeline has generated 1.2 million man-days of employment. It will also lead to development of a new ecosystem of employment and self-employment. And it will help India save thousands of crores of foreign exchange.
इस पाइपलाइन का एक और बड़ा लाभ पूरे देश को होगा। जब ये पाइपलाइन पूरी क्षमता से काम करना शुरू कर देगी, तो देश की हजारों करोड़ की विदेशी मुद्रा खर्च, ये खर्च बच जाएगा। भारत COP21 के लक्ष्यों को लेकर जिस गंभीरता से काम कर रहा है, ये प्रयास हमें उसमें भी मदद करेंगे।
The PM said that the government is working swiftly to provide CNG, PNG and LPG connections. He added that the government is also pursuing a gas-based economy with dedication, and a lot of oil and gas sector reforms have been carried out to this end.
We plan to achieve one nation, one gas grid. We also want to shift to gas-based economy. The use of natural gas has several environmental benefits. The government is taking policy initiative to increase the share of natural gas in India's energy basket from 6% to 15%. Crores of rupees would be invested in the oil and gas sector in this decade itself.
The PM also said that the government is preparing now to meet future energy needs. It's working with full commitment to ensure that every citizen gets adequate, cheap and pollution-free fuel and electricity. He added that the government is also working at an extensive program to develop the country's blue economy in coastal areas, as it is set to become a major source of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The PM said that protection and prosperity of the coastal ecosystem is vital, as a large part of the population settled in coastal areas is that of farmers and fisher folk. The last few years have seen several meaningful measures being taken to ensure the safeguarding of the coastal ecosystem. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Right, moving on, Prime Minister Modi had a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson. Prime Minister Johnson reiterated his thanks for India's invitation to him as the chief guest of the forthcoming Republic Day celebrations, but regretted his inability to attend in view of the changed COVID-19 context prevailing in the UK. He reiterated his keenness to visit India in the near future. Now, Prime Minister expressed his understanding of the exceptional situation in the UK and conveyed his best wishes for the quick control of the pandemic spread in the UK. He looked forward to receiving Prime Minister Johnson in India at the earliest opportunity after normalization of the situation. Now, the two leaders reviewed ongoing cooperation between both countries, including in the area of making COVID-19 vaccines available for the entire world. They reiterated their shared belief in the potential of the India-UK partnership in the post-Brexit, post-COVID context, and agreed to work towards a comprehensive roadmap for realizing this potential. And PM Modi has said that Indian products should try to win the hearts of people around the world. An article posted on social media platform LinkedIn, PM Modi wrote, and I quote him here, "A few days ago, I was addressing a national conclave on metrology. Now, this is an important subject, even though it is not discussed that widely. India is a powerhouse of skill and talent. The success of our startup industry shows the innovative zeal of our youth. New products and services are being created rapidly. There's also a huge market, both domestically and globally, waiting to be tapped." Now, the world today is in pursuit of affordable, durable, and usable products. He goes on to say, Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self-reliant India, rests on the twin principles of scale and standards. We want to make more. At the same time, we want to make products that are of good quality. India does not want to merely fill global markets with its products. We want Indian products to win the hearts of people around the world. Now, when we make in India, we not only aim to fulfill global demand, but also get global acceptance. Now, I would urge you all to think about zero effect, zero defect in any product or service you create, unquote. Right, moving on, Ministers Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and Smriti Irani on Tuesday launched a virtual toy hackathon. Now, Toycathon 2021 aims to create awareness about school students about the rich cultural heritage of the country.
Toys sector is expanding at a great pace in India. Even as India continues to be a major market for toys, only 20% of the total toys sold in the country are manufactured locally. The government is now working to overturn this skewed ratio in favor of local manufacturing. Keeping this in mind, Union Minister for Education Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and Union Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani launched a virtual under Toycathon 2021. Concepts have been invited for online and physical toys. The participants can send their entries till 20th January and the winning entries will also receive a cash prize of Rs 50 lakhs.
I welcome this initiative of 6 agencies, departments of Government of India for the launch of the Toycathon. For the first time in the history of our country, we shall see participation of school students along with students from higher educational institutions with regards to needs of the MSME industry in our country, needs that stem from innovation, needs that stem from new design concepts, needs that complement the cultural ethos in which the Indian toy industry hopes to be steeped in.
The entire exercise also encourages the participation of school children so that the toys and the games so chosen reflect the aspirations of the young generation.
ज्ञान और ज्ञान के साथ किस तरीके से उन खिलौनों के माध्यम से हम भारत को आत्मनिर्भर भारत बना सकते हैं, लाखों लोग उससे जुड़ सकते हैं। वो स्थान स्थान पर अभी मैं देख रहा हूँ कि विभिन्न प्रदेशों में ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जिसको यदि हम पूरे देश के अंदर लेकर के जाएंगे तो लोगों को गर्व भी महसूस होगा, देश के बारे में भी जानेंगे, एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के से भी जुड़ेंगे। तो इसलिए आज का जो हैकाथॉन है, ये हैकाथॉन कई मायनों में बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और मुझे लगता है कि जो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी का मन है कि ये पूरी दुनिया में हम जो ये 7 लाख करोड़ का जो मार्केट है पूरी दुनिया का, और भारत के अंदर प्रतिभा भी है और जुनून भी है और संकल्प भी है और परिस्थितियां भी इस समय हैं।
India is also developing clusters for encouraging local production of high-quality toys. A children university is also being set up in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. All in all, the fledgling toy industry will not only generate employment for lakhs, it also has the potential to play an important role as India's soft power in the larger picture. With input from Shailendra Mishra in New Delhi, News 9 Desk, DD India.
All right, moving on. About 1,800 migratory birds have died in Pong Dam in Himachal Pradesh. Officials suspect it to be the case of bird flu as a cause of the fatalities. Now, Kangra District Administration has restricted entry in Pong Dam area and raised a ban on fishing, chicken and egg sale in 4 subdivisions of Pong Dam. Dr. Vikram Singh Vashisht, a senior veterinary pathologist at State Animal Husbandry Department and also the National Consultant for United Nations for bird flu operations in the country, has arrived in Dharamsala to attend a meeting with the district administration and wildlife officials. Now, while the Chief Conservator of Wildlife Dharamsala, Upasna Patial, said that the whole of the wildlife wing is on its toes and they are combing the area and disposing them as per the set protocols. While in Madhya Pradesh, the state government has declared bird flu as state-specific disaster and issued a high alert in Mandsaur. Meanwhile, in Kerala, a team of experts visited Alappuzha after bird flu was confirmed in certain parts of Kottayam and Alappuzha districts. Right, to the weather now. Cold wave conditions prevail over large parts of northern India. In contrast, Chennai in southern India was hit by incessant rainfall, causing waterlogging in some parts of the city. Here's a weather report.
Heavy rain along with snowfall continued to wreak havoc as cold wave intensified in the northern region. Snowfall has caused roadblocks, whereas continuous rain in certain areas is causing a steep dip in temperatures, making day-to-day life difficult for people. Jammu and Kashmir continues to reel under a constant spell of snowfall. Continuous rain and snowfall since the past 4 days have impacted daily life in the valley. Srinagar's Dal Lake is frozen, whereas the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway is closed. The Doda district is also witnessing heavy snowfall, with Kashmir, Leh and Ladakh also facing the vagaries of nature. As intense cold wave conditions exist in the region, the authorities have started clearing roads. Coming to the national capital, intermittent rainfall continued in Delhi for the second day in a row. Tuesday's minimum temperature was 13.2 degrees Celsius and maximum temperature was recorded at 20.8 degrees Celsius. The Met Department has predicted an increase in the minimum temperature in the coming days.
In the coming days, we expect that now the minimum temperature, which had risen to around 10-11 degrees, they are likely to fall by at least 4 degrees in the coming days, especially after 7th.
In northern plains, Kanpur and Moradabad witnessed dense fog on Tuesday morning, leading to difficulty in daily transit.
बारिश का बहुत बुरा असर है, बहुत कड़ाके की ठंड पड़ रही है. कल शाम को जो बारिश हुई उसके बाद सर्दी अपनी चरम सीमा में है. बुजुर्ग लोगों की तो बिल्कुल दिक्कतें बहुत बढ़ गई हैं.
बारिश करीब 2 घंटे करीब रिमझिम चलती रही है और उसके साथ साथ ठंड बढ़ती रही है और सुबह ज़्यादा मौसम खराब हुआ है.
Down south, Chennai witnessed heavy rainfall that caused waterlogging in some areas, affecting the daily commute of many. News Night Desk, DD India.
All right, now take a look at what else is making news around India in our National Roundup segment.
NIA has filed charge sheet against 20 accused in the Kerala gold smuggling case, including Swapna Prabha Suresh and Sarit PS. According to the charge sheet filed in the special court at Ernakulam, smuggling was not only endangering India's economic security, but the money received from it was also being used to buy narcotics. Probe also revealed that the money received after selling the smuggled gold was being sent to UAE through Hawala to fetch more gold. Taking a serious view of the crematorium roof collapse incident in Muradnagar that claimed 24 lives, Uttar Pradesh government has directed that the National Security Act be slapped against the accused. He also directed that loss of public money during the construction work be recovered from the contractor and engineers. In another setback to TMC, former cricketer and Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs Lakshmi Ratan Shukla has resigned from Mamta's cabinet in West Bengal. He also relinquished from the TMC district president of Havra. BCCI President Saurav Ganguly, admitted in a hospital in Kolkata, will be discharged on Wednesday. The hospital administration has said that he will be monitored by doctors at his home daily. DRDO has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation to provide technical support for the implementation of its advanced biodigester MK2 technology for the treatment of human waste in the Metro Rail network. Maharashtra government is working with DRDO to conserve water and protect the environment by installing DRDO's eco-friendly biodigester units in its facilities.
Right, in other news, in a 2:1 majority verdict, the Supreme Court on Tuesday gave the nod for the Central Vista project. It upheld the central government's plan of constructing a Central Vista and a new Parliament building. Now, the verdict said there was no need for approval at the incipient stage, but approval should be sought when the project materializes. Now, last month, the Supreme Court allowed the foundation stone laying ceremony for a new Parliament building to go ahead as scheduled on 10th December. after the government gave an undertaking to keep it in abeyance, the construction or demolition of buildings and shifting of trees, and wait for the verdict. Right, in international news now, UK offered a £4.6 billion support package for businesses on Tuesday to soften an expected recession caused by a surge in COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile, the UK began its third COVID-19 lockdown on Tuesday with citizens under orders to stay at home and the government calling for one last major national effort to stem the virus before mass vaccinations turn the tide. To West Asia now, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman opened a Gulf Arab summit by taking aim at Iran and lauding a deal towards ending a long-running dispute with Qatar. Now, Prince Mohammed embraced Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani on the airport tarmac in the historic Saudi city of Al Ula. Leaders of the Gulf countries signed a document, although the contents were not immediately released. Now, ahead of the gathering, Kuwait had announced that Saudi Arabia, which along with allies boycotted Doha in mid-2017, would reopen its airspace and borders to Qatar. A senior U.S. official said the deal would be signed in the presence of White House senior advisor Jared Kushner. And in the U.S., New York's governor said his state had found its first case of the more contagious UK strain of the coronavirus, raising concerns about threats to hospital capacity should it spread rapidly in the state. The governor said a man in his 60s living in a town north of Albany has the new strain. The man, who is recovering, had not traveled recently, suggesting, therefore, that community spread is taking place. New York has carried out 5,000 tests for the new strain and so far has only found one case. Across the Atlantic, France is accelerating its COVID-19 vaccination of medical staff in hospitals after an initial rollout that was slowed by bureaucracy and precaution in one of the most vaccine-skeptical countries in the world. France's health minister said several thousand COVID-19 shots developed by Pfizer and Germany's BioNTech had been administered across France on Monday. France was slow off the mark, delivering just 516 COVID-19 inoculations during the first week of a campaign that focused primarily on nursing home residents. Israel's health ministry has authorized a COVID-19 vaccine developed by U.S. drug maker Moderna, marking the vaccine's third regulatory authorization and the first outside North America. Israel has begun to vaccinate its population at one of the quickest rates in the world, and it aims to reach all vulnerable citizens by late January. Authorities started vaccinations on 19 December using the vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech. Iran has denied that it was using a South Korean ship and its crew as hostages a day after it seized the tanker in the Gulf while pressing a demand for Seoul to release $7 billion in funds frozen under U.S. sanctions. The seizure of the ship and its 20-member crew near the strategic Strait of Hormuz has been seen as an attempt by Tehran to assert its demands just 2 weeks before President-elect Joe Biden takes office in the United States. Now, polling has begun in the U.S. state of Georgia to elect 2 lawmakers to the upper chamber of the U.S. legislature. It's a crucial election for President-elect Joe Biden, as Democrats need to win both seats to wrest control of the chamber and enable him to pass laws.
Suddenly, all eyes, not only in the United States but the world, in fact, are once again on the state of Georgia and its voters. Long a solidly Republican state, Georgia surprised US in November by backing a Democratic presidential candidate for the first time in almost 3 decades. Now the state is again in focus. Outgoing President Donald Trump and President-elect Joe Biden held dueling rallies in Georgia to persuade supporters to turn out on Tuesday for runoff US Senate elections that will ultimately determine the balance of power in Washington. The Georgia races pit a pair of incumbent Republicans against Democratic challengers. Biden wants both Democrats to win, so that his party will control both the houses of Congress when he takes office on January 20th. Trump's team wants Republicans to win so that with Senate control, his party can block or curtail Biden's legislative agenda. The dueling appearance by both the men in southern state on Monday illustrated the high stakes of the contest. A sweep by two Democrats would hand control to Biden's party, as Vice President-elect Kamala Harris would hold the tie-breaking vote in the 50-50 chamber. That would make it easier for Biden to enact further coronavirus relief and tackle climate change, as Democrats also control the House of Representatives. None of the Senate candidates won a majority in November 3 elections, which spurred the runoff elections. Trump also suggested in a rally that he would try to hold on to power.
Your vote tomorrow will decide which party controls the United States Senate. The radical Democrats are trying to capture Georgia's Senate seats so they can wield unchecked, unrestrained, absolute power over every aspect of your lives. If the liberal Democrats take the Senate and the White House, and they're not taking this White House, we're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
US President-elect Joe Biden in a rally said that voters in Georgia have the power to change America.
You know, this campaign has been exhausting. You put the hard work in over the last few years to get to this moment. It's been intense. It's been nonstop. But I'm asking you to give everything you've got one more day. One more day. And that one more day is not hyperbole. You can change America.
Meanwhile, in a call on Saturday to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, Trump pressured the Republican official to find enough votes to overturn his defeat. Brad later said that fellow Republican President Donald Trump had pushed him to respond in kind.
If President Trump wouldn't have tweeted out anything and would have stayed silent, we would have stayed silent as well. And that would have just been a conversation between him and I, man to man, and that would have been just fine with us. But he's the one that couldn't, had to put it out on Twitter. And so if you're going to put out stuff that we don't believe is true, then we will respond in kind.
Donald Trump, meanwhile, continues to assert without evidence that his loss in November was the result of widespread voter fraud, a claim that reviews by state and federal election officials, multiple courts, and the US Department of Justice have rejected, and the impact the results will have for a long time to come. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Right, moving on, another set of 44 North African migrants, including one woman, were rescued by Spanish Coast Guard near the Canary Islands on Monday. According to authorities, this was the first operation in 2021 on the island that received the largest influx of arrivals last year. According to Spanish ministry, the number of undocumented migrants arriving in Spain's Canary Islands on rickety boats was more than 8 times higher in 2020 from the previous year. Around 23,000 migrants arrived in the archipelago last year, up from nearly 2,600 in 2019, as North and Sub-Saharan Africans grew desperate after losing income from tourism and other industries because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has shown his support to the decision of a British judge to deny extradition of the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to the US, and has said that the government is ready to offer him a political asylum. Now, the extradition request from the US, where Assange could face charges including breaking a spying law, was denied on the basis that Assange's mental health problems that put him at risk of suicide, a British court ruled. The decision was welcomed by the Mexican president, who called the decision a triumph of justice. It earlier said that the release of secret classified files and diplomatic cables by WikiLeaks had showed the world's authoritarian workings. Now, Bangladesh has granted approval for the emergency use of the Oxford University AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine. The approval to import was granted by the Directorate General of Drug Administration, or the DGDA of Bangladesh, late on Monday to Beximco Pharmaceuticals Limited. The BPL has signed an agreement with the Serum Institute of India for importing 30 million shots of the vaccine for Bangladesh on 13th December. Earlier, dismissing the apprehension about delay in receiving the vaccine, Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen told journalists in Dhaka that the vaccine from Indian manufacturer will arrive in Bangladesh on time. He further said the government of Bangladesh is also exploring other sources to get a COVID-19 vaccine. To cricket now, Indian wicketkeeper batsman has been ruled out of border Gavaskar trophy. Now, KL Rahul sprained his left wrist while batting in the nets at the MCG during Team India's practice session on Saturday. Now, Rahul will not be available for the remaining 2 tests of the border Gavaskar trophy and will return to India and head to the National Cricket Academy in Bengaluru for rehabilitation of his injury. That's a wrap, but news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye.